Hey folks, hey people. Yeah, guess what? It's another episode of Terra Lumination Story Time. So, this is the early days of Terra Lumination Story Time. We've put a few stories up there already, but we're going to do more and then more and then more because it's so much fun. Anyway, let's kind of get stuck in here. This recording, you don't really have to watch everything. I mean, if you want to, you can, but mostly you're supposed to just chill, lie back, and listen. Obviously, if you're driving, don't fall asleep if it gets boring or anything like that. It's more for just chilling out. Some people get, those, 8-hour meditation chill out music videos and things. You just kind of trip out and trance out. And well, this is just another version of that kind of stuff. It's storytelling, live storytelling. Well, this is recorded, but I'm doing this spontaneously for you. So let's have a title. I think to keep it simple, just like they did it really in the old days, like if it was a black and white movie or something, let's just call this, how about The Man in the Crosswalk? Stay there. Stay there. The Man in the Crosswalk. Okay? The Man in the Crosswalk. How about that? Now, you know how they do on books? They have a little squiggly thing underneath, like what's it about? So we're going to do that too here, all right? So let's call it something like this. The Man in the Crosswalk, also known as Please God Give Me a Sign. Okay, let's just write that in for fun. Please God give me a sign. Just like that, okay? So let's get on with the story. And there's probably going to be a couple of doodles later on to show you the geography of what we're dealing with here. So there we were. Okay. Now, this is on the TL2 Terra Illumination Love Tribe channel. So we have a little bit of wiggle room here. We can deal with controversial subjects and awkward language. Let's put it that way. And without attracting too many, let's say, detractors or people who want to shut the show down or anything like that, or report us for abuse or anything like that. But it is a little bit of a delicate subject because it does involve death. Okay? So let's just get that out there. Let's just get that out of the way. All right? So, The Man in the Crosswalk. We've done our prelude chit chat right now. So, The Man in the Crosswalk is a little story about the whole concept of please God give me a sign. And I'm sure everyone listening now knows what we're talking about because we go through those moments in life where we don't know what else to do except we raise our hands to heaven and we talk out loud, even when we're in the middle of a mall or driving the car and the windows are open or closed, or you're at work or with your kids, your friends, your families, or you're at school or college, wherever it is, and you just look upwards and you literally either whisper it, please God, give me a sign, or you yell it, please God, give me a sign. And guess what? They listen. I don't know if you guys believe in angels or not, but I do because I have to, because they're there, they're around me all the time. I just have to live with it. Of course, it doesn't mean like they're standing in front of you like some special effects movie, but they're there. Believe me, they are there. They're around us all the time, and they're just awaiting our invitation to bring in their love and their energy for you. So this is what that story is about. All right, let's get to the beginning of the story now. Just for fun, imagine you're one of those people, you've just had some kind of traumatic incident, perhaps a life-threatening incident, let's put it that way. And you had to go to a hospital, or it doesn't even have to be life-threatening, just something awful, like going to the dentist, or having your car tuned up, or you just had a car crash, or you just had some really bad news and you were scared out of your wits if you were ever going to live again. Maybe you felt like you were going to jump off a bridge. Maybe you felt like your whole life was imploding and collapsing. Maybe you just got dumped by someone who you really trusted and loved, and you discovered that they betrayed you. They ruined your life. And all the time they were smiling at you. All the time they were laughing at you behind your back. Anything like that that constitutes extreme pain, extreme shock, extreme grief. And somehow or other, you have to find a way to keep going because you do. Okay? Otherwise, you wouldn't be here on this channel, Terra Lumination Love Tribe, listening to this little story. So let's say you do that. And let's say you've lost everything, okay? You're pretty much one step away from homeless, or you are homeless, or you're couch surfing, or you're, let's say, between situations. It could be anything. Like maybe you're, like, I don't know, divorced or something, and everything's falling apart. The kids are over here, and the parents are over here, or you're over there, and someone's over there, and it's just an effing freaking mess. And you're wondering, why am I even here? Why am I even alive? What's the point in being here? Why are we doing all this stuff? Why is life just one endless chaotic event after another? Why do we just get up every morning and do what we do, going to bed thinking like, what was the point? What's the point in all of it? But somehow or other, because we're still alive today, if you have dealt with any kind of situation like that, then you have probably dealt with this situation where you have reached out because you were so broken that you screamed out or you whispered out from your spirit and you said, please God, give me a sign. And the sign that we're asking for is like that I am just lucky enough just to be alive. That's all I'm asking for. Please, God, just send me a sign that it's just a big enough deal just to be alive, let alone all the stuff that's out there, all the problems, all the mess, all the pain, all the suffering, okay? So let's say, let's make it a little more personal now. Let's say, because this is a little story I'm telling you from real life, personal experiences. Let's say you were leaving this place, this situation where this horrible awakening occurred, which ripped your guts out. And you knew you had to get home, but you're kind of in a state of shock, either instant shock or delayed shock. Either way, it's the energy of shock. I'm sure most of you listening know what that feels like. It's like when your body goes numb, when your brain goes numb. You don't know how to speak. You don't know whether you're going to fall over. You don't know whether you're going to float up into the sky. You don't know if anything or anyone around you is real. It is extremely disorienting to be in a state of shock. Okay? But shock is a way that our bodies prepare ourselves for imminent death. It's a way, it's the way our senses work to tell us, like, to tell the body, oh, it's getting so bad that we might not be here anymore. There's a possibility we might not be here anymore for whatever reason, self-inflicted or circumstantial. And so in order to numb the process, the body does what it does. It creates these massive endorphin surges that create a bizarre sense of elation, numbness, beauty, and dissociation from the raw fear and the raw terrors of life. So let's just say you're in that situation. And let's say you're in a bus, you're on a bus, and you're living through this sensation. You just come out of a cataclysmic awakening, an experience where your life felt threatened, and you don't know if you're going to live or going to die. Perhaps the news was devastating about your health. This is my personal situation. I was just indicating that I had some very bad news, and so I had to deal with it. And I had to get hope. And I decided I don't want to be defeated. I'm just another person like everyone else. I'm just going to treat this as a piece of news that arrived on my lap. And now I'm going to deal with it. And so going home, taking the bus, wishing that, frankly, it was all over, because the news is so devastating. You start making decisions. What's the point in even being here? Let's just, let's press the ejector button now. We don't need to do this forever and ever. If we're gone or if we're going, let's just get it over with. Let's move on, recycle ourselves, get back up to heaven, recalibrate, and then come back another time. Okay? I don't want to drag this out. So there you are. Let's say you're on a bus or you're in your car. I'm going to use the bus analogy because we're getting real here now. I was on a bus. Okay? So now I'm asking you to live with me in my personal experience and condense all your experiences into this little experience here and make it your own. Okay? So there we are. We're on a bus. There you are, sitting on a bus. It doesn't matter about you or your parents, your friends, your families, your kids, your career, your money. Nothing matters anymore. The only question anymore is, are you going to live or are you going to die? That is it. Is it going to happen now, tomorrow, next week, or the week after, or a few months from now? We don't know. But there's the news, and it's going round inside of you. And this is information. And this is sort of news that happens like if you've been to funerals, or you've lost friends or families who've died, or you've witnessed death and destruction. However it translates to you in your listening to the story, just modify things and reintegrate them to suit yourself. So there you are, you're on a bus, and it's you, and there's the rest of the world around you, and you're going numb. You're going numb, and you're starting to faint, and you're starting to black out, and things feel very disoriented, and you don't know if you're in a hot sweat or a cold sweat. All you know is that you're in a very bizarre, ethereal state of shock. And so you call out, please God, give me a sign what to do. Please God, tell me what to do. Please God, remind me that I'm lucky enough just to be alive at this very moment in time. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm still alive now. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there isn't, but just let me know. Just do something to affirm that I am alive and that there's a possibility that I'll continue to be alive in the near future. Because otherwise, this news is going to kill me. Okay, so I just need to know, God, I need to know right now. Okay, so pretend that's what just happened to you. And you're just sitting there on the bus, and then you decide to accept that your physical condition is very, very bizarre. You don't know if you're going to barf or faint or start talking to strangers in bizarre manners that you've never done before, or laugh hysterically, or have a complete nervous breakdown on the bus. Either way, you're just dealing with it as though nothing was wrong. And you're not even aware of if people are noticing you as being strange or out of whack, or whether you look normal or not. None of that matters anymore. You're just living with this highly, highly compressed experience of shock, facing life or death. So you say to yourself, okay, well, I don't know what to do. Let's just pretend this is normal in everyday life. Look, there's my stop. It's coming up. But you know what? I could get off right now because this stop is earlier, and if I calculate it right, I could just get off here and walk through the side streets and I'd be home anyway. So let's just get off here. It'll be different. I don't normally do it because I don't like this stop. It creeps me out because there's something very creepy and dangerous about it, but we're just going to do it anyway, just to break the vibes. Okay? So I get off at the stop, feeling very disoriented. And I have already uttered the words, please God, give me a sign that I'm lucky to be alive at all. And that we have the chance to keep going from this moment onwards, despite the fear, the trauma, and the unknown, and the mystery of it all, and the pain of it all. Okay? So, there we are. I'll just use the word I, but you could say you if you want. Imagine you just got off the bus, and now you're standing on the side of the street, looking at your predetermined pathway to go home, across some wobbly streets that you've typically never used before. You don't use them because that's not your normal path. But today we're going to do it. So there you are. You're at the little crosswalk just where the bus stop lies. It's not a full crosswalk. There's no big lights. There's no big buzzers, no buttons, no big flashing oranges. It's one of those mediocre crosswalks that has a little sign here, a little sign there, and you're just kind of trusting to God and luck that the cars can see you or not. Okay, so, you know, you do what everyone else does. I do what everyone else does. I look to the left. I look to the right. I look to the left again. I look to the right again. I evaluate the risk. I evaluate the challenge. And then I make a decision. I decide, okay, it's safe to cross. Let's give it a shot. This is a 4-laner. This is a big fat 4-lane trunk road in the middle of town. Traffic is very intense. There is no mercy. They don't care about pedestrians. You know, they're just on their mission to get home and do what they have to do, go where they have to go. But anyway, it looks clear, looks absolutely clear to the south and to the north, left, right, front, and back. Double check, triple check. So we enter the crosswalk and we start moving across the crosswalk gently, gently, gently. In this kind of bizarre state of shock. Doesn't feel like we're walking too fast, doesn't feel like we're walking too slow. It's just right, it's safe, it's normal, it's already been checked. We're good to go. So we look around and we are halfway across and we think, wow, this is amazing. I'm still alive. I can't believe it. Wow, this is so cool. And then we get all the way across and it's almost like with sheer joy, we put our foot on the curb on the other side, rejoicing. God, thank you. Thank you for giving me a sign that I'm still alive. And then suddenly, blam. And now I'm going to ask you to translate time like they do in slow motion movies and take the sounds that you just heard and turn them into minutes as opposed to seconds, just a matter of seconds. So there was a very big sound. The moment my foot hit the curb, there was a very big, loud crashing sound. And I thought it was me. I thought somebody had hit me or that I was going to die. It was so ugly and frightening. And as my foot hit the curb and my body sensed that I was not dead, I pivoted around. Or imagine, of course, this is happening in extreme slow motion, like it happens in the movies. And I turn around, and as I turn around, my eyes catch what actually happened. But it's very disorienting because it's all so slow. So what actually happened was there was a massive screeching and squealing sound as a big limousine rolled up to the crosswalk, just as a man was arriving to where I was already standing, no more than 3 or 4 feet behind me. And this big black monster limo hit the man. T-boned straight on the side. The man flew up into the air, got smashed onto the hood of the truck. It was one of those big limo truck car things, big and black and very important looking. And all the sound happened simultaneously. The sound of the screeching tires, the sound of the body hitting metal, and the sound of the body getting thrown in the air with the guy kind of going, till he landed on the hood and then banged onto the windshield. And then with the force of gravity, as the vehicle stopped, the body got thrown forward. And the body got thrown forward and landed right in the crosswalk, 4 feet behind me, no less than 4 feet away from where I was standing. And again, everything that I've just said in the last minute or two happened in fractions of a second. So I am now on the safety of the curb, next to a very big, heavy concrete post, so nothing could have harmed me anyway. And I'm looking at the scene in front of me, and I'm seeing this body on the ground, sprawled. And the sound of the screeching has already stopped. And most of the other cars in the vicinity have stopped as well, because this was pretty catastrophic. And then absolutely nothing happened for what seemed like forever. In fact, it was probably just nanoseconds. So there's the body lying on the ground, totally sprawled out. There's the limo sitting there parked. All the other cars have come to a standstill. It's rush hour traffic. It's a very bizarre situation. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is very, very strange. Everything was clear moments ago. My perception, my eyes, all my most highly attuned senses told me it was perfectly safe to cross. There was nothing coming either way anyway. And yet, on turning around, I discovered that there was another person behind me, only a few feet behind me, and there was another car barreling in, and the incident happened like we just described. And so I looked at this, and I started to become very calm and very neutral. And I just looked at the body, and the body was sitting there twitching, just shaking and twitching. And eventually the driver came out and stood next to the body and just stood there looking at the body. And then some people came out of the parked cars, and they came around and looked. And after a while, there was about a dozen people there just standing looking at this twitching body, including myself, I'm ashamed to say. And I stood there, and I picked up my little plastic cheapo kitty's cell phone, and I looked at it and I thought, it's time to dial emergency. And then I realized, wait a minute, at least 3 or 4 people are doing that already. And I'm just going in slow motion. So I thought, you know what? No, I'm not going to dial it because everyone here is taking care of business. Everything is exactly perfect. Everything is exactly as it should be. The guy is there because that's where he is. That is his life experience right now. And everything is exactly as it should be because it can't be any other way. That limo driver was there at exactly that right moment. And all the other cars were there at exactly that right moment. And I was there on the curb at exactly that right moment. And so I released myself from any sense of guilt or obligation to do with this accident. And I just decided, this is very strange. This is very, very strange. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stop my automatic compassion junkie behavior, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to trust that everyone else has got it taken care of. And so that's exactly what I did. I walked away and did absolutely nothing, and I carried on home. And within, I don't know about the time because everything was so distorted in terms of time, but what felt like a minute, I guess, you could hear all the sirens and the ambulances arriving at the scene. And I just kept walking, and I told myself, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. And I'm just going to go home and everything's going to be fine. And I kept walking and I kept walking, and my head got lighter and lighter and lighter, and everything felt okay. And I got home and I closed the door and I got inside and I looked at my little life, my little world, my little home, and everything that was around me. And I started to shake. And I started to shake and shake and shake. And then I went into the bathroom and then I puked. And then I cleaned up and had some water and I refreshed myself and I sat down in the kitchen and just waited for my body to stop shaking. And eventually, as my body stopped shaking and I started to calm down, I realized, oh, huh, my angels were listening. It's it's in such a strange way. I hope it didn't mean any harm, but I got a very, very powerful message because I realized I was very, very extremely lucky to be alive at that moment in time, sitting at my home, in my kitchen, safe and sound. And the reason I realized that is because I could have been that guy in the street, no more than a few feet behind me, 4 or 5 feet behind me. I could have been that guy, and I wouldn't have known. I would have just been a piece of, you know, ground up meat on the tarmac. But there we are. It wasn't me. So this very profound awakening hit me right. What do they tell? What's the expression? It hit me at my soul, right between the eyes, with blinding, striking awareness that I was extremely lucky to be alive and that my prayers were answered. So not only did I learn the stark reality that I am extremely fortunate to be a human being and to be alive on this planet at this time right now, no matter the pain, no matter the suffering, no matter the circumstances, because it is a privilege to be here, to learn and to love and learn, to love and be loved, to witness all the experience, to absorb all the experience, to give all the love and to receive all the love. And that can only happen here in this lifetime on this world by being alive. So if you ever feel as though it's all over or you're going to check out, please don't be scared to yell out, please God, give me a sign. And then make your decisions, okay? Because I realize that I'm extremely fortunate to be alive. And all I wanted to do with this little story is kind of give you a rendition so that you can understand no matter how much pain and suffering you might be enduring right now, you're here for a reason. And you're very, very lucky to be alive. You're very fortunate to be a human being, no matter your circumstances. And then it's a question of what do you do with the circumstances, because that's the joy of being here, making the decisions and allowing the decisions to unfold. And that's how we learn and that's how we love. Okay? Because love is as love does. So I learned, because of the man in the crosswalk, I learned that I'm very fortunate to be alive. And I also learned, number two, that my angels are very, very close by and they're listening all the time. They're always there, always waiting for my invitation, just like for you guys. It's the same for you guys. You are surrounded by love. You are surrounded by angelic beings. You're surrounded by your guardian angels. And they love you and they love you and they love you, but they like to be respected. They like to be invited. They respond to invitation. So do not be shy about asking for angelic intervention in your life. Don't be scared to ask, please, God, give me a sign. Please, angels, please, whatever you believe in. We're just using the word God here for convenience because it's the simplest, most common word. But just see, I use my angels, frankly, but you can use whatever you want. And so all I'm asking is that don't be scared. Don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to ask for a sign. Don't be scared to talk to your angels. Be aware, be very grateful, be very happy that you are alive. And then go from there, okay? So That's the end of the story. And I just wanted to share this with you. And I hope you get something out of it. And you probably have something similar that happened in your own life, in your own world. And maybe this will trigger that memory for you. And then you will realize how incredibly fortunate you are to be alive as well. And that you are loved and you are surrounded by the energy of heaven. You are surrounded by angels. And you can invoke the healing power of love at any time. Okay? So there's your little story. Thank you so much, everybody, for visiting Tarot Lumination. Bye bye.